Mike King is in the business. Mike King is in the business. Mike King is in the business. Mike King is in the business, man.
Hello from Washington, President JB here. Whenever Jill and I leave in our car, we tune in to our guy, Mike King Biz, on ESPN Grid.
I enjoy listening to On the Mic with Mike every day. That's what I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network, ESPN Richmond 106.1, International Business Coach Radio, as well as the Hounds of Business. What we do is we showcase RVA in a different way. We are the top business-ish program. We're the only daily business-ish program. So, Jessica Snyder is here with us, Chesterfield supervisor. Yes.
Clover Hill District.
Of Clover Hill District. Okay. So, ma'am, those are just, they may be friends of the program.
Oh, okay.
They may not be, but we are not a program here that kisses and tells. And plus, our legal defense fee, our fund, we don't have much in it. So we are not, we are not naming names. We are not, this is what we do. We talk to the best and the brightest. So, ma'am, tell us who you are and what you do.
So, Jessica Schneider. I am newly elected in the last year. So it's only been less than 9 months that I've been in office. It's been amazing. I have nothing but this to be focusing on. I decided not to get back to a full-time job when I decided to run for office. And so I decided to focus completely on getting myself immersed in the county. And so before I was even running, I was going to all of the board of supervisor meetings and the planning department meetings. And I went to all the citizens academies just to get myself completely immersed in the county and all of the different inner workings. Staff seems to think that helped a lot because I wasn't as uninformed it didn't take as much time for me to figure out, and again, I don't know if anyone could ever figure out all of the components of the county because it's a lot. There's so many people and figuring out who's in charge of which departments and who to call about certain things, but there are definitely certain people that will get things done. And so, I don't know. It's just been an awesome whirlwind of an adventure.
Had you ever run for office before?
Absolutely not. The closest thing I've done to public service was I was on my HOA board for the past for 8 years before doing this. For the last 4 were as president, and so that is a thankless job. But again, I thought I did it because when we first moved here, because I thought it was a great way of getting immersed into our community and meeting people and getting to know people and trying to help keep our community beautiful and protect the lakes in our community. And we have a great wooded area. And so those are things were important to me. Coming from the Midwest, growing up in Wisconsin, it was very natural. I grew up on a farm. Natural resources are very important to me. And that's something that I focus a lot on. And so I live in Bexley, and Bexley is a beautiful old neighborhood that has old growth trees, and I love it. And so I did it as a commitment to my community and a way of getting to know them.
All righty, ma'am. So you get ready to run for office. What was the most shocking thing so now you're running for political office. What was the biggest shocker running for office?
Well, to be fair, I kind of prepared myself. I took Emerge with Danica Rome. I don't know if you know what Emerge program is. Actually, it was started in California to help Kamala run for AG.
Okay.
It's a Democratic group run to help women prepare to run for office and what they need to know. And so Danica Rome is the head of the VA, the Virginia branch of it. And so
this teaches you how to get ready.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting.
It is.
Okay, so when you're just starting out with that, you're telling you this is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden you're running.
Yeah.
When did the light bulb come on and they said, this is what they were talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. I don't think people, you can't prepare yourself for it. Despite the fact I went through 6 months of training, it was a month or a weekend every month, intensive, like 10-hour days. I think that they were too broad about it. They didn't go down fine enough and say, these are the papers that you have to fill out. These are that's the things that really get to you, like the state paperwork, the where you have to file it, who you have to file it with, who you have to send a copy to. It's just, those are the minutia, I think, get to some people. I mean, I know people that have thought they filed and then they end up not qualifying because they missed a piece of paper or something like that. And I think that that's unfortunate, and we need to do better on that.
So the person that you were running against was well known,
mm-hmm.
had been there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start thinking, I might have a shot to win? Election night or before you?
To be fair, there was another person that jumped in the race. He originally, he worked for the county. He had just retired from the county in May, and then he had reached out to me and said, well, I know what is happening in the planning department that is concerning me. So why don't I help you get to know what's going on so that you're more prepared and can run better? And I said, okay, well, that's fine. And so I was waiting for him to retire to help me out. And then all of a sudden a month later, he's just like, I've decided that I don't think you can beat him by yourself. So I'm going to jump in the race too.
And what the idea with that is, it splits the vote. Is that what his thinking was?
Oh, that's what he thought. Yeah, he was going to pull more votes because he was,
I'm known.
Yeah. And unfortunately, he pulled more votes from me, but that's beside the point. But that's because he was making promises to people about, planning and things like that they wanted to hear. And again, great. I'm staying in my lane. I am just, I wasn't trying to pay attention to him or Chris, because I just wanted to stay in my own lane, do my own thing. They both were very condescending to me at some of the forums. That's fine. Great, whatever. I understand that. And unfortunately, being a woman running for office, I think makes it 10 times worse sometimes, because it's the good old boys club. And
here you are crashing the party. All right. So as you said, Chris Winslow has been on the program, a decent man, and did his thing as to helping the Clover Hill district. What did you see that you're thinking, I can bring this different to Clover Hill?
Yeah. My personal experience with Chris, in our HOA, we had some developments that had happened. We had some issues with some residents that needed some assistance. Chris was really good at answering his phone and saying that, I'll take care of that. Let me see what I can do, but then not following up. And so then you'd have to chase after the answers yourself, or he'd turn it over to someone else and then, not stay in the loop. And so it's kind of frustrating. That's not how I do something. And so for me, if I'm going to do something, I do it 110%. And so again, this is why I'm not doing anything else besides this, because I feel like the constituents are the ones that get shorted if you're not there, if you're working a full-time job on top of doing what you're doing. The constituents are the ones that are not getting the attention that they need and deserve.
On the mic with Mike King here and Jessica Schneider. Ma'am, let folks know how they could reach you, like all the ways they could reach you, and some things that are upcoming. I got to do a little bit of housekeeping. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So you can reach me at Schneider, SCHNEIDERJES at chesterfield.gov. You also can follow me on socials. I'm still under Jessica Schneider for supervisor. I do have a community conversations coming up on Thursday night at Wood Lake, their rec center.
Okay.
6:30 to 8. You can sign up on the website or go onto the county website and sign up. for that, if you'd like to attend. It's just an open forum for people to come and speak their concerns. Yeah, I don't know.
Election night, when you knew you had won, what was that feeling like? And first thing, I'm like, okay, we got to get to business.
Yeah.
First order of business. Election night first order of business.
Election night was amazing because I spent it with my Team Just ladies in my neighborhood. They were the ones that helped me get through this and supported me through this. And so I was at one of my neighbor's house for the watch party. The Democratic Party people were messaging me when they saw that was they're just like, you need to come over here to the party. You won. You got to get over here. So, at 10:45 at night, I'm running over to Midlow to go and join in with the Dems as well.
Did it seem like when you see people on TV running for office at the night of the election, did it feel like that when now all of a sudden you're getting the call and you need to go?
I know. It's very surreal. Let's put it that way. And sometimes I think it still is. It's just like, wow, this is not anything that I ever would have imagined doing. I think I have a very different background from a lot of people that run for office. I have a background in hospitality and food. I was a chef for 10 years. I have a degree in interior design and have my own design business.
So you're a Renaissance woman.
Yeah. And I also, and I think that's more why I did run, because I feel like I'm very empathetic to people and I and their concerns and tune in with people so well. I'm a survivor of domestic violence from my first marriage with my kid's dad, their bio dad, both domestic violence and gun violence in that marriage. And it changes you and it makes you a different person. And so through my healing process, I worked in a domestic violence shelter just to give back and to get in touch with those people. Mm-hmm. I know what it's like to have to use food stamps. I know as a single mom, that was the way I got through. I'm actually speaking. Beth from Brian Stratton.
She was just here. We talked about you a little while ago.
She actually asked me to do the
keynote speech. Yes, at the graduation. Yes. Yes. Jessica Snyder is going to be at the Brian Stratton. That is on September the 20th.
Yeah, just after I get back from Germany.
Because you're scheduled. Okay, so let's talk about this right here. One, how do we find the next generation of you? And what you bring, people like you. Mm-hmm. There are people who like Chris. Mm-hmm. I like Chris. He's a decent guy, even though we were on opposite sides on the political spectrum. He was a decent guy. Mm-hmm. People really like you. People are coming up to me, and like you said, the conversation about your beliefs, your ideas, and fighting about the agrihood, the culture of the farm in your neighborhood. Yeah. That was a big thing. Yeah. And people said Jessica Schneider will go ahead and fight for what she believes in. Talk about that right there, how people view you who didn't know you. Now all of a sudden they're like, hey, you know what? She's there to help the community.
I think that, and this goes back to one of the first things that I did when I got in office. America Deloche reached out to me the day after I got elected and said, hey, can we get together? I have this idea I really want to do. And I mentioned it a year ago, almost 6 months ago, 9 months ago to Mr. Winslow, and he didn't do anything with it. And I really would like to do something. And so I got together and met with her. She had seen that I was a chef. And so with her food business, she was very interested to talk to me. We sat down I think we were talking for probably 2 hours in her office, and she wanted to do the farmer's market and she just needed a place to go with it. And so that was one of the first things. Before I even was sworn in, I reached out to staff and said that this was something that I wanted to focus on. And they said, and Joe Casey said, oh yeah, I know America. We've talked about it. We'll look into it. And so that was the start of the Latino farmers market. And
which is very popular.
It is. Oh
very,
my gosh.
Very
so popular. It's so awesome.
Have you been on with Adriana Duarte with Todo Latino? Okay, we got to just because. So they were just out there with Estimata. So the event that they had in Chesterfield last.
Yeah, I was there.
Week, right.
I was there. Yeah.
So we got to get you connected with those guys because. So the idea of it was something came back. It had been discussed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was important to me. I mean, again, I think that that's a way of connecting communities and bringing people together, and people need to experience different cultures. If they can't go somewhere, I mean, to go to a farmer's market, you can experience different foods and different flavors and smell different things and see different people. And I think it's so important. That's just who I am. And so I don't know. I just want, I know that's it. I was just there a couple of weeks ago and I ran into I was talking to America and a lady came up to me. She said, "You're Jessica Schneider, aren't you?" And I'm just like,
maybe I know you by the hairstyle too. That's like because yes, I am that person.
Yeah, and I said yes, and she said, "Well, I'm one of Roxana had said I'd probably run into you because you're everywhere," and so Roxana's one of there's a massage therapist situation that's going on in the county, and they're trying to get some regulations changed, and she said, well, when I moved here to Chesterfield, I wanted to keep I was going to move my business here also, but because of this ordinance right now, I did not. I kept it in Henrico until we can get this figured out. It's an ordinance that's being applied to physical therapists as well as massage therapists because they're trying to crack down on the illicit massage therapy parlors. Unfortunately, the physical therapists have gotten in the middle of this and they have to do extra on top of their certifications and their licensure that they already are doing through the state nursing board. They're having to do more and they're feeling a little put upon. And I understand that. And so she kept her business in Henrico. And I said, oh, that's, I get that. The Henrico board are really good. They love me. I talk to them quite often. They want to adopt me. And she said, everybody I talk to wants to adopt me.
Everybody, that's the word on the street. Jessica Schneider's out there doing amazing things. Okay, before we get you out of here, I know you got important things to do. Touch on the idea of the power of the office. Mm-hmm. Like America talked to people. Mm-hmm. It doesn't get anybody bigger than Dr. Casey. Yeah. He's running the joint. Yeah. But it took you making it happen. Somebody who is, okay, let's make this thing happen.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, you're an insider. Before you were outside and looked in. Now all of a sudden, you're an insider. Jessica Schneider makes a phone call, and it's happened.
How do they say that? Heavy is the crowd, or the shoulders.
Right. My dad would always say, "I don't care who you know; it's who knows you." And people know you because of what you're doing.
Yeah, and again, I am the first one to say, if I've forgotten something, please remind me because I want to not forget everything. But you need to understand the amount of emails and stuff that we get. I am there to help people as much as I possibly can. And so it's amazing to have the ability for someone to reach out to you and say, I could really use this. I need help with this. And say, okay, I'll call the police chief or I'll call, head of planning or whatever and see what we can get figured out and get them answers and fix things. It's just, it's kind of humbling and amazing that I am here and able to do that. And that's what I'm here for. I consider myself to be not a politician, but a public servant.
Public servant. That's what you're doing. On the mic, Mike, Jessica is here. But one last time, how can people find you?
So easiest is probably to email me at Schneider, SCHNEIDERJES @chesterfield.gov.
There you go. So now this is music that I play for me, but Jessica Schneider, she's new, but it's still, let me see. It's what she does and how she operates, but hopefully she is not the last stuff.
I ain't many that are built like me. Come the last of my kind. Go out on the back road, baby.
All right, so she's doing, public service different. So congratulations to you.
Thank
you.
I
said, everybody knows you. You're out there making magic happen. So on the mic with Mike. Thanks. Now take care. See you later, folks.